Good afternoon, traders. It is May 30th and day 55 of the 100x challenge. Two accounts, 10 grand each between Tesla and Strategy, where the first to $1 million wins. I trade every Friday. This is not advice, it's just a journey. So follow along, tap subscribe, and let's go. All right, good news and bad news for the portfolio. Strategy has taken another dip lower. So this definitely hurts a little bit. I got to be honest. 22% now. We're up on the entire portfolio compared to Strategy at 25 and Bitcoin at 25. So we're actually lagging those two, which is not good. And I'll go into why this is happening. It's definitely my bullish bias. It's me trying to shoot a little bit higher for the fences compared to sticking with a straight up covered call strategy on the weekly. So but I'm going to tell you why I still think it's the right move. We have about 3 weeks left to kind of prove that it's the right move, but I'll definitely get into that today. Looking at Tesla here, we're doing great. I mean, we're up $6,000 in the portfolio. That's the highest so far. Tesla is just climbing up slowly, which is exactly what I like to see. It leads to the best possible scenario for us. So up 62% compared to 39%. Here's the chart for Bitcoin. And it's kind of ugly. You know, we just had the Bitcoin conference in Vegas, and it tends to happen where, you know, during the conference or right after the conference, we get this dip. So we kind of rose into the conference and now we're getting that pullback. So we're selling into the news type of thing. But I drew this new blue box to show you that we have a lot of support right here. So all of this price action that happened here, this is a nice range that I drew out. We kind of dipped into the blue box right now. So I feel like either this move today was it, and we continue to range higher, or we'll settle here for a little bit and then continue up at some point. I would hate for it to go sideways here. The more it goes sideways, the more likely is that we just continue to go down. I'd love to see a bounce here, you know, at least next week. Even if we go down, I want to see a bounce out of here quickly. That's what I'd hope. And then if we look at Strategy, which is going to follow Bitcoin, of course, we're actually getting close to this blue box that I drew a while ago. You know, this is kind of my, hardline support level, where if we do come in here, then like I'm pushing hard on the buy button. I'm going even more aggressive if I can. And I think that Strategy could either bounce really, really fast out of here, or we don't get this far down. There's a small gap at around 350 that we could fill. I could see this happening next week where we just fill this gap and then continue higher. But, you know, everything's going to come down to what Bitcoin does, what the S&P does. However, I am more bullish on, let's say, Bitcoin than I am stocks as a whole, meaning the S&P. And so I think Bitcoin can outperform, and it can actually rise while, let's say, stocks in the S&P go sideways or even go down. It's just a new era for Bitcoin and new era for blockchain technology. But specifically, Bitcoin just has so much buy pressure from all these Bitcoin treasuries. So I look forward to kind of getting out of this range and then going into price discovery very, very soon for Bitcoin. That's my base case for the next 4 weeks at least, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's look at the Tasty Trade account. So I'm going to start with Strategy, and what you're going to see is I put this bull spread. This was my, I guess you could say me reaching for a double. You know, this is by most people's standards, this would be a pretty conservative bull spread. You know that if you've been following the journey, you know that we did this in May, and we actually went ahead and rolled it out to June. I had people in the Strategy Discord saying, "Why am I so bearish?" In other words, I'm not shooting high enough. You know, the result was that I lost and didn't hit that bull spread that I had in May. So I'm going to try again. I do believe what is very possible and likely to happen, in my opinion, is that, you know, we rebound hard out of this level. Money comes back into Strategy that had left before, and we go higher and stronger than ever. It doesn't take very long to get into one of these trends. As you saw from the last one, it only took roughly 3 to 4 weeks to go all the way from 232 to 425. So as soon as we get the jet fuels packed into the spaceship, and as soon as it starts to launch, then it's usually can pack a nice quick punch higher. And so I am standing behind this spread, even though it is shooting slightly for the fences if this hits, and when it hits, it'll be several $1,000s in profit versus maybe collecting $300 a week on a covered call. The reason why we're not doing covered calls also is because I just know that strategy could be 320 next week and we end up losing even more. So the good thing about this strategy that we did was it only costs $670. The one that we did before that ended up being a net loss of $425, which was less than 5% of the entire portfolio. This one is also the same, about less than 5%. So we're taking small bets. You know, if we were going all in on this position, I would say you're crazy, you're gambling, and you're an idiot. But because it's just a very tiny portion of our portfolio, for the upside, it's totally worth it, in my opinion, to take a move like this. And Bitcoin is just about ready to go ahead and rocket to the moon, in this case, much higher. So yeah, that's the strategy perspective. And if we look over on Tesla, it's very simple. You know, we keep making a consistent $300 to $400 a week on weekly income. The price went a little bit higher, so we're almost at 300, but not quite. So we're going to go ahead and close it close to our goal, and hopefully we can do the same next week. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. In fact, let's just go into that right now. So what we're looking to do is about the same thing. I'm actually going super conservative. And the reason why, when I say conservative, I mean, we're going to sell a covered call pretty deep in the money. So 330 compared to 350, which is the current price. So this would be a 330 strike price, much lower. So we're not maximizing our profit. For example, if we had it at 335, we're aiming for about a $400 on average gain next week. But the problem is that if we get a dip and for some reason the market goes down, I could see Tesla going all the way down to 300 or, you know, at least 315, and that would be a loss of $1,200. So instead, we go 330, and if we go to 315, we're only looking at about $800. I can stomach that, or I can't really stomach a $1,200 loss. I'd rather play conservative, go ahead and collect $200 to $300, and play it safe. So I do think Tesla is slightly overextended, and the narrative is just so good right now. It wouldn't surprise me if something turned on us in the next week or two. So I'm playing it pretty conservative in this case. So we'll go ahead and close what we have here first, and then we'll go ahead and open the new trade. All right, credit of 61.90. I'd be very happy with that. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll give this a few seconds. All right, Phil. Okay, so time to open the new trade. So I'm going to go out to June 27th this time at 270. So we're going to buy 270. And this is right around a 90 delta. 270 buy. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and sell next week at the 330. For a total of about 5,900. Sell 5,900, good. 59.20, 59.08. Let's try for 59.15. 59.35. Okay. All right, so there's our income position for Tesla. And that's it. That is all that's required for this week. I literally do this for 10 minutes every single Friday, and things are going pretty well. Now, I might have actually done a few changes on Tuesday if I go ahead and traded, but I'm going to try and just stick to Fridays. I think it's just a lot easier to make those moves then. I don't have to overthink anything and just let things play out. But yeah, that's it for today. Let's see what happens to these positions. Can strategy rebound? I think we can. So I'm very hopeful that things can rebound either this next week or the week after. But that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you next week.